says the problem with teachers is, what's a kid going to learn from someone who decided that his best option in life was to become a teacher? I'm sorry. He reminds the other dinner guests that it's true what they say about teachers. Those who can, do, and those who can't, teach. I'm sorry. I decide to bite my tongue instead of his, and resist the urge to remind the other dinner guests that it's also true what they say about lawyers, because we're eating after all, and this is supposed to be polite conversation. I mean, you're a teacher, Taylor. Come on, be honest. What do you make? And I wish he hadn't done that. Asked me to be honest. Because you see, I've got this little policy in my classroom about honesty and butt kicking, which is, if you ask for it, then I have to let you have it. You want to know what I make? I make kids work harder than they ever thought they could. I can make a C+ feel like a Congressional Medal of Honor, and I can make an A- feel like a slap in the face. How dare you waste my time with anything less than your very best? I make kids sit through 40 minutes of study hall in absolute. No, you may not work in groups. No, you cannot ask me a question, so put your hand down. Why won't I let you go to the bathroom? Because you're bored, and you don't really have to go to the bathroom, do you? I make parents tremble in fear when I call home at around dinner time. Hi, this is Mr. Molly. Hope I haven't called at a bad time. I just wanted to talk to you about something that your son said today in class. To the biggest bully in the grade, he said, "Hey, why don't you leave that kid alone?" I still cry sometimes, don't you? And that was the noblest act of courage that I have ever seen. I make parents see their children for who they are and who they can be. You want to know what I make? I make kids wonder. I make them question. I make them criticize. I make them apologize and mean it. I make them write, and then I make them read. I make them spell. Definitely beautiful, definitely beautiful, definitely beautiful. Define nightly, beautiful, until they will never misspell either one of those words again. I make them show all their work in math class and then hide it on their final drafts in English. I make them realize that if you've got this, then you follow this. And if somebody ever tries to judge you based on what you make, you give them this. Here, let me break it down for you so you know what I say is true. Teachers make a difference. Now, what about you?
Will you indulge me just for a moment, please? Please, close your eyes. Close your eyes just for a few moments. Now I want you to picture in your mind's eye your all-time favorite teacher. Now I want you to picture what qualities do you associate with him or her. What adjectives come to mind in describing that teacher? Okay, eyes open. Talk to me about your favorite teacher. How would you go about describing that teacher? Smiling, what? Passionate. Articulate. Caring. Helpful.
Honesty.
Took the time one-on-one.
Honesty, kept it real.
Positive.
Honesty, kept it real.
Yeah. So I've been asking that question of teachers all over the United States for years now. And they constantly come up with adjectives that indicate care. Loving, kind, one-on-one time with me, positive, respected me, expected the best out of me. Sometimes it's the most demanding teacher at school, but it's always a teacher that we thought cared about us. It's never the teacher who taught us how to conjugate a verb or the multiplication tables. It's always the teacher who exhibits care. Mine was Ms. Switzer in the 6th grade. Mrs. Switzer had a special place in her heart for Glenn Wilkerson. And every kid in that classroom felt exactly the same way. She was the most demanding teacher I had in all my years of school. And she just exhibited extraordinary care and concern for the kids. Our valedictorian in my class, our salutatorian in that class, all came from Miss Switcher's class. She just loved on us, made us feel special, and she instilled in us a lifelong love for learning. One of my best friends is Dr. Duke Sampson. Duke, until just a few weeks ago, was the chief of staff at University of Texas Southwestern Medical School. He was chief of staff in the Department of Neurosurgery and was probably considered to be the best neurosurgeon in the world. Duke is a really smart man. He's had over 20 years of schooling. I was in his home about 6 months ago, and I said, Duke, let me ask you something. I've been asking teachers to name their favorite teacher. Who would you name? He said, oh, well, that's a slam dunk. It'd be Miss Switcher back in our 6th grade class. He said, Glenn, that woman had a special place in her heart for Duke Sampson. I said, Duke, that's amazing, because that's exactly how I describe her. That's how people describe their favorite teacher. The teacher that had the greatest impact upon their lives. They never, ever talk about something that the teacher taught them. Instead, they talk about how a teacher loved them, cared for them, encouraged them, demanded the best of them, and made them feel special. Those are the qualities of a teacher who registers a lifelong impact upon students. Every kid deserves a champion. Every student deserves to have at least one adult at school who believes in them, loves them, cares for them, and challenges them to become the best that they can be. 20 years from now, if a kid at your school is asked to name his or her favorite educator, will you be the administrator or the teacher who comes to mind? You can make it so.
Finally, of course, it makes sense of it, so it involves interpreting.
What happened, Edwin?
I'm really very tired. Really. Thank you for dinner, Mrs. Strong.
You're welcome. You can treat me when you're successful.
Mrs. Chong. It's time for dinner.